Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be tier ranking every single, or what I think is every single, fantasy magic-y book I've ever read. Some of these I see more as other categories, but they still fall into fantasy, so we're gonna leave them in here. I have a lot of books on this list, so this might be a long video, not really sure. Some of these are series, some of them are standalones, or I just didn't want to continue the series. But some of the series I just put the first book on here because I'm gonna count it as the whole series, because I either don't really remember it or it wasn't really that good. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. Oh my god. The categories are, starting at the bottom, throw into a black hole, then what even was that, which is kind of like, what even was that, but also I don't really remember reading this. A fun time is the middle tier, absolute crack, and then would do anything to read again for the first time. So yeah, I don't know where I want to start. Some of these are also books that I haven't read in forever, from elementary and middle school, but I included them because I loved them so much. Also, a lot of these I don't remember what they're about, so I might have to look it up. We'll start with an interesting one, Neon Gods. So I read this years ago. I'm pretty sure it's about Persephone and Hades. I'm pretty sure her mom forces her into a marriage with Hades, but she doesn't want to do it. But I think she then runs away to the underworld to make a deal with Hades. It's either what a fun time or what even was that, because it was a fun time, but it's also what was that. We're gonna put it there for now. Okay, Lore by Alexandra Bracken. It's mythology. I really don't remember what happens, other than I know I didn't like it. I know there was there was running on rooftops at some point. There was, I'm pretty sure there's a police force or some kind of something is after these people. I don't even remember. I don't know if I'd throw it into a black hole. It's definitely what even was that, but I remember actually not liking it. So we're gonna put it there. No, we're going straight into it. Okay, then let's do Divine Rivals. I've talked about it on, we're just not going order. I've talked about it on my channel before. Everybody loved this book. I did not like it. It's also kind of roped in mythology, but not really. They just have their own gods, and there's a war going on. It's workplace, enemies to lovers, and they're writers, but then the girl goes to the front lines, and the guy's like, I can't believe she did that. I wouldn't throw it into a black hole because I liked the writing. I loved the writing style. But this is going to be based off plot and vibes. This tier is plot and vibes only. So I'm going to put in what even was that. Let's go into... Let's try to get all of the standalones done. No, this isn't even a standalone, but A Touch of Darkness. Pretty sure it's another Persephone Hades retelling. It's one of 3 books. A Touch of Darkness, A Touch of Malice, A Touch of something else. And it happens in this city, and there's kidnappings, and Hades owns a gambling empire. And then I'm pretty sure there's another bet, because she walks into this club and she bets him something. I don't remember, but it was a fun time. Oh, not there. I read all 3 books, so it had to have been a fun time. Okay, next we'll do Seraphina and the Black Cloak. There are 4 books. Sorry, they're right here. Seraphina and the Black Cloak, Seraphina and the Twisted Staff, Seraphina and the Splintered Heart, and Seraphina and the 7 Stars. It's about Seraphina, lives in Biltmore. Her mom is a lion or something, so she's a shifter. And there's this force in the Black Cloak trying to get her. And then there's a force with the Twisted Staff. And it was a fun time. I read it in middle school. Pretty good. We'll do another middle school one. The Waterfire Saga. If you were a reader in middle school. Honestly, I think I read this in elementary school. I really think I read this. I think I read Seraphina and Waterfire in elementary school. Waterfire's up here. There's Deep Blue, Rogue Wave, Dark Tide, and Sea Spell. Oh, absolute. Actually, honestly, would do anything to read this for the first time again. I would do anything to read that for the first time again. It's so good. It's about mermaids. I can't believe I still remember this, but I don't remember fucking A Touch of Darkness. There's, I'm pretty sure, five or six kingdoms in the sea. And Seraphina, that's the only mermaid I remember. I think there's maybe Aster, or there's one that started with an A that was like the like cold waters or something like that. But they're all princesses, and all of the kingdoms have these talismans that like went missing, or they're just somewhere else and they have to get them to like protect something. So they have to like come to a meeting and meet together, and then they have to go out and find them. And it's, oh my god, there's this dark force. And I know in the first book Seraphina has like dreams of this evil force coming back to the waters, and like her mom dies and she's supposed to get married, and then she like runs away or swims away so that she doesn't get married, and then she goes and finds the 5 other mermaids. And then throughout the books, I think it highlights different mermaids going to find the like talismans. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. That was one of the top series I read when I was younger. The other one was The Darkest Minds, but that's dystopian, so it's not here. Anyways, next we'll go To Kill a Kingdom. It's about this siren who's known for like ripping out people's hearts and killing people, until one day she kills someone she wasn't supposed to kill or something. So her mom, the queen, she's a princess, forces her to become a human as punishment. And she meets this prince who is the most powerful prince in all the lands, and they hate sirens. He doesn't like to hunt them, but he does because that's what he's supposed to do. He's the prince. And so he rescues this person who's like drowning, I guess, or whatever, because she's not a siren anymore, and he obviously doesn't know she's a siren. And then they like form a bond and like help each other with something. There's like magic. I loved it. I'm pretty sure there's another one called like The Pirate Daughter, like also by the same person. I'm gonna say, I don't know what I would say now. Maybe I'd say Fun Time, but back then it was absolute crack. So we're gonna leave it there. Kind of similar, Sorcery of Thorns. I love that. I need to do a reread of this because it's been so long since I read it. Sorcery of Thorns. There's this girl, she's stuck in a library and she loves the books. Like, it's about their sorcery and stuff, and these grimoires are kind of like the ones in Crescent City where they can kind of like talk, or they have their own magical powers. And then one goes missing and they're like, oh, it was her, even though it wasn't her. And then she has to like trust her enemy, Nathaniel. I think it's Nathaniel Thorne. This was absolute crack also when I first read it. I don't know if it would be now, but I loved it. Okay, next, King of Battle and Blood, I think. This is another Persephone and Hades retelling, I think. I know there are more in the series. I didn't read them. So I'm gonna put it in What Even Was That, because I just don't remember. Okay, just looked it up. I lied, it's not another Hades and Persephone retelling. It's this girl who has to marry the vampire king and kill him. Like, the whole reason she's supposed to marry him is to kill him. But she fails in assassinating him. And he's like, oh, if you try to kill me again, I'm gonna turn you into what you hate most. Me, a vampire. So, yeah, I don't remember that. What even was that? The Shadows Between Us. Also, What Even Was That? I don't know why I was reading so much like vampire shit. Anyways, pretty sure this was about a king, maybe a peasant girl, and like she marries him. I'm pretty sure she marries him to take his kingdom for herself, but then she notices, oh, other people are trying to kill him, and then she's like, I don't want him to die, and that's what happens. You're welcome. You don't need to read it now. Next we'll go on to Jennifer L. Armentrout books. I really don't remember what order these go in. I think From Blood and Ash is the first one. Pretty sure it follows Poppy and Castile, right? Oh my god, I remember. So Poppy's the maiden, and she's like, never been outside, and she just kind of has to listen to everybody around her because she's this figure this figure of hope. I don't remember why she's this figure of hope, but she is. She's not supposed to be spoken to, not supposed to have any interaction except for like when people tell her what to do that are above her, or like her handmaiden. Pretty sure I just gave spoilers if you haven't read this book. I'm reading the like synopsis because I forget what happens exactly, other than Poppy and Hawk, this guy named Hawk, he gets put on like her guard duty because something happened, and then he catches her like sneaking out because she's trying to help the kingdom, and she sneaks out and like is a warrior because she had this like figure that helped her learn how to fight or something, but then he dies. Oh, anyways, then there's this curse, blah blah blah. I thought it was a fun time when I first read it. Then next in the series is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and I also thought this was a fun time. It's just a continuation, and they kind of go, and Hawk turns out, if you don't want spoilers, even though I've already spoiled it, kind of skip forward like a minute. But Hawk turns out to be Castile, who is the prince of this other kingdom that the kingdom Poppy is from, like years and years and years ago, was destroyed. Like everybody's like, oh, it's destroyed. I think it's destroyed. And he's like, no, it's not. We're actually really happy, but we're actually not that happy, so you need to come help us. I don't remember. But this is a continuation of that. And like Poppy figures out she has powers or something like that. Ugh, it was honestly good, I think. Then we get to the next one, and it just kind of lost me. Oh, it started getting kind of crazy-ish. I mean, it was already crazy, but it started to get really like, what's happening? But then the next one after that, where did it go? Oh, here it is. The War of Two Queens. This we can throw into a black hole, because actually this one might have been a fun time. The Crown of Gilded Bones, because Poppy and Castile, like Castile gets trapped again by this other queen, and shit goes down. And I remember the cliffhanger being really good when I read it. Don't judge me now. But then the War of Two Queens, like the actual war part and fighting part and their like love romantic thing, it got really screwed up. So like honestly, we started with a fun time, kind of like it's like reality TV. It was kind of, oh my god, nothing's really happening, but I still want to read it. That was the first three, and then the last one that I read doesn't need to exist. I didn't keep reading because we're not doing that anymore. Next we'll do Ordinary Monsters. This can also be this can be What Even Was That, because the writing style was really slow. Like the pacing was slow, but the writing wasn't bad, I don't think. And I remember after reading it, I was like, dang, I really want to read the next one, but do I want to go through 900 more pages of weird stuff that is slow and kind of boring? No. So we don't need to throw it into a black hole. But it wasn't that great in my opinion. Next we'll do the Zodiac Academy series. I only put one book because I'm not putting all, I'm pretty sure there's like 8 books now. I'm still gonna read, okay, before we start, I'm still gonna finish the series, but we're gonna say it's a fun time, because that's all it is. It's just a fun time. I watched Carrie Can Read's video of her attempting to read these, and she said it was like a Faye version of After, which I never read After, but I did watch the movies. I think in vibes, 100%, but in plot, it's just so funny. It's so funny, and it's so hilarious. I can't stop. So the series as a whole, I'm gonna say is a fun time. Next we'll go to Ember and the Ashes series. It's about Laya. I say Laia, who's a slave. She was born to like the poor people compared to, or just society compared to the government and the military. Elias is in the military and he doesn't like it there. His mom is like this big commander and they're all kind of just hating their lives. And then there's this whole thing with an uprising, which is Laia's people trying to build up again, and like things happen with her parents that were in it, but then they were killed, so she kind of has to take up stuff. And then in the very first like chapter, like shit goes down in her household, like there's some unaliving happening and she runs away, and then she becomes like this maid, this servant to Elias's mother, who's the commander at the training school for the military, and she's kind of in there spying for the uprising. And that's the first book. And then the next book is kind of like her and Elias breaking free, and then the next book after that is like more magic stuff. It's the whole series. We're gonna go book by book though. Ember in the Ashes, fun time. Honestly, I could have just put all of these as one book. The whole series was a fun time. I didn't love it. Everybody seems to really love this series, but I just thought it was okay. Okay, next we'll go Serpent and the Wings of Night. Everybody's probably heard of this. I honestly don't really remember what happens. I know there's like a vampire. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a vampire king and his daughter is like a human, I think. And then she goes into these games to like win something. And then she meets this other vampire who's like everybody's so scared of. She has to have an alliance with him. And they kind of like go through this and save each other and stuff like that. I thought this was also a fun time. Same with The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is a continuation. Six Scorched Roses is the novella to those. I thought it was better than those, but it was an absolute crack. It follows one of Rain's guy friends, and he's this vampire who kind of lives in this like estate alone near all the humans, and then he falls in love with like a human who keeps coming up there because she's like, oh, I need a cure, like my people are sick or something like that. Next we'll go Gallant, which was, honestly, it was a good book, but it wasn't a fun time. Was it a fun time? No, it was a fun time. So it's this girl and she's an orphan, and then she gets called to Gallant, this house which has like ghouls and ghosts and stuff, and she kind of meets her family. And they're all like, oh my god. Like, some of them are welcoming, but the, like, guy that's there is like, you shouldn't be here. And then there's stuff with ghosts, and, like, she almost dies. Next books, also Leigh Bardugo. No, that was V.E. Schwab. These are with Leigh Bardugo. Oh my god, Ninth House. Would do anything to read for the first time again. That book was so good. Dark academia, fantasy. There's demons and kind of a romance and secret societies. It was just so good. Alex, pretty sure, is the main girl. She goes to Yale. There's a secret society, and she's kind of like the person who goes around to all of the different demon societies and like sees what's happening to report to like the people she needs to report to on these things. And there's this guy Darlington, and he's her mentor, and then he goes missing. And she's like, oh, we gotta go get him back. Hellbent also would do anything to read for that. It was great. They go to hell. Next we'll go to the Mask. What is it called? The Rook and Rose trilogy. Ren is a thief, and she used to be part of this clan, but then she got kicked out of it because she like didn't listen. She killed the like top person. And now she needs to come back to society, and she needs money because she wants to live a life not on the run. And she has like her sister, found family sister, with her, and they kind of enter society as a member of high society, trying to trick people into thinking she's this daughter who she used to be the maid for when she ran away from her old clan. And then there's this vigilante there who's kind of saving the city, and they kind of like cross paths, and it's very political, and was honestly pretty good. I'm gonna say it's a fun time. The next book was better, but it wasn't actually. Was it crack? I wasn't like on the edge of my seat for any of these. So we're gonna put it there. Also a fun time. All of these were fun times. Second book, Liar's Knot, was way better than the first one, I think. And then Labyrinth's Heart was kind of back on the first one's level. I should have just... Why did I separate some of these? I know why I separated some of these, but... Okay, next we'll do Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was absolute crack. Some people don't like it. I liked it. It's about Violet, who is supposed to be a scribe, but her mother's the general, so she's like, you're gonna be a rider. And the riders are... There's 4 quadrants, I think. Riders are the dragon riders. And she's really frail and has bones that break really easily. And she's like, I'm gonna die. She doesn't die upon the entrance exam, which is basically a death walk. Like, you walk on this plank and hope you don't fall into the ravine below and die. And she made it past that, so she made it in. And then she meets Xaden, who's the son of the old uprising's head, like the head of it. And there's just a whole bunch of these kids that were like sons and daughters of the uprising, and then she kind of helps them. Iron Flame didn't like as much, but it was, oh my god, but it was still a fun time. It's just a continuation. The romance got kind of lost on me. Violet got real annoying in this book, I think. Okay, now we're at Sarah J. Maas. We're gonna start with Throne of Glass because it was like her first series. Assassin's Blade, we loved. Selena, Sam, oh my god, absolute crack. Throne of Glass we're also gonna put in absolute crack. Will we? Yes, we will put Throne of Glass there just because of all the shit that went down. Crown of Midnight, also really good. Just because there's so many plot points that happen in all these books. Honestly, all of hers were really cracky because we get introduced to so many new characters every new time that I'm like, ugh, I can't. Just based on the characters, the only one I'm gonna say was only a fun time was Tower of Dawn, just because I don't like Cole. Sorry. He's just so, like, this book took me kind of longer to get into and read just because he is so boring. I just don't like him. Sorry, it's my own prejudice. Next we'll do Throne of Glass. ACOTAR. First one was a fun time. Tamlin is mid. I didn't really like him throughout the first book. It was because he was kind of an asshole. A lot of these guys are assholes all the time though. He is a bigger asshole than the other people, maybe I might say. He's also really just strange. Like, how he acted was strange. It was also, I loved, like, for the first book I didn't realize it was slow, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, based on the other ones, it was kind of slow. Court of Mist and Fury crack. We meet the Inner Circle. We get Feyre's kind of annoying throughout this whole thing, but we kind of get Feyre doing more shit. Then Wings and Ruin is the actual battle. We get more of the sisters, more questions, more answers. Court of Frost and Starlight was a fun time just because it's a novella and it was slow and based on, like, it was basically them just being miserable during the holidays. Court of Silver Flames, I'm gonna put in crack just because I love Nesta and I love her story and, like, the kind of warrior vibe thing. Next we'll go into Crescent City. They were all a fun time. Yeah, they're not really like, what even was that? There are points in the book where I'm like, what even was that? But, like, again, kind of how I was saying about Zodiac Academy being like reality TV, this was also like that because it's fantasy based in modern times and they have cell phones and stuff, which I didn't like. I don't like fantasy based in modern world, but it was still pretty good. Honestly, that was it. We have 3 books well, technically 4, 5, 6 books I would do anything to read again for the first time. These are just fantasy. Those who know me know 5 stars really hard to give out. Like, it really is. Honestly, Kingdom of Ash, I might do anything to read for the first time again. Just because of the first half. Like, her getting out, that had me. Also, Throne of Glass, maybe. Some of the Throne of Glass books, even though I liked ACOTAR better, but the thing is, I would love to read ACOTAR for the first time again. I need an Asriel book. Where is that? Some people hate on people loving him because they're like, you don't even know him. Exactly. Exactly. We don't know him. Like, Reese, he's great. Great guy. But we know him. We know him. He's kind of like, sometimes he's a little nitpicky, which I shouldn't be saying. And he also keeps secrets a lot, which Asriel obviously does that because he's the fucking spy master. But we don't... Crescent City 3, if you haven't read, just skip like a minute again. But we get Asriel speaking in this so much, and he's making jokes, and we see him care about Nesta. We see how loyal he is. I love Asriel. Okay, that is my final. Maybe some of these Throne of Glass can be moved, but that's basically my final tier ranking. These aren't based on like stars or anything, but actually based on the side thing, like would do anything to read for the first, absolute, like all of those, accurate. If you don't agree with me, let me know. If there's any books you think I should read, also let me know. Also, I really want to do a plot breakdown. I won't do it for any Sarah J Maas books because those already pretty much exist. But if there are any books on here, or just ones that you've read that I should read that you would like me to do a plot summary on, or just ones you don't really want to read but want to know what they're about, I'll do it for you. Just let me know. But I think that'll be all for this week's video. I have some birthday stuff, birthday vlogs coming up. I just have a lot of things spread out throughout February for that, so I think I'm just gonna film all of it and then make one video. But look out for that soon. And yeah, I hope to see you again next week. If you enjoyed this and you haven't seen any of my other videos, maybe go watch those. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.